Good morning, everybody. My name is Nate Morris, and I'd like to welcome you back to another video. We're back today for the final two races of the Vintage Racer Group Turkey Bowl at Summit Point Raceway. After we brought home a top 5 and a win yesterday, I'm feeling pretty strong going into today. In the warm-up session, my car seemed to be just as fast as it had been the day before. It turns out, though, that it did rain last night, and Group 5 was scheduled to be the first group out today. So I went out on the track, and first lap I was trying to avoid some puddled up water on the right hand side of the front straightaway. So I got on the brakes going into turn 1, and as soon as I got on the brakes I saw that there was a patch of water right in front of me. I ran right through that, it locked up all 4 tires, and I just went for a ride off into the turn 1 gravel trap. Luckily I was able to keep it going, didn't get stuck, and there was no damage to the car. So as long as I can avoid the water, I feel like we're going to have a pretty strong run today. The starting spots will be determined by the same metric that they were for the second race yesterday, and with nobody seeming to have run a better lap time in the second race, I will be starting 4th for today's first race. I'm excited for today. I think we've got the speed, and now I've got more experience to go with it, so hopefully we can bring home another solid finish. Thank y'all for clicking on today's video. I hope y'all enjoy it, and let's get into it. It definitely looks like it takes one race each morning for me to get warmed up. Early in that race, the number 8 car lost his trunk lid, and so that kind of distracted me going into the final corner, and I just overshot it. I actually fell back to 6th momentarily, but I was able to work my way back up to 4th, but by that point I had just lost the lead draft, so it was kind of over. I was planning on just riding it out to the end like I did in race 1 the first day, and just walking away with another 4th place finish, but then we had a caution, which gave me a little bit of hope. That caution turned into a red flag period, and so they brought all the cars down pit road. The only issue with that is that they threw the red flag on the car directly in front of me, and the way the rules work is that car has to immediately turn down pit road, and then the rest of the field can work their way back to pit road as they get there. This meant that I was the leader of all the legend cars to pit road, but I was in 4th place. So the top 3 basically got a freebie to almost lap the entire legend car field, and so they would start behind the entire pack, meaning that there was no chance any one of us was going to be able to get up there and mix it up with them whatsoever. Which is unfortunate for us from a competition standpoint, because if we have a caution come out and we're able to tuck back up to the rest of the field, we would definitely have the ability to advance our position. We actually had something similar like this happen in yesterday's race 2, the race I won. We had a caution come out, and I was separated from the leaders by one of the modern race cars. And so the first problem was that the pace speed never slowed down. So the 2 leaders of the legend cars were able to take off and get a massive gap on me, and I was stuck behind this modern car. At one point, I made the decision that I could either be stuck behind the modern car and just ride around to a 3rd place finish, or I could pass the modern car under yellow and catch back up to the legend car leaders and have a shot at winning the race. Apparently, most of the other legend cars had the same idea, that they wanted to actually be bunched up with the rest of the legend group so we could race together and have some fun. And so basically the entire field got busted for passing under yellow. But the second issue is that the way they run these Group 5 races, it's not one race. You've got 2 races. You have the modern class and the legend class. And they acknowledge that by separating us into 2 classes when we start the race. But the thing in my mind is, if you're going to start the race off as 2 races, you need to officiate it as 2 races. So when a caution comes out, either do like IMSA does and bunch the entire field up for a restart, or separate us back out. Let the modern cars pass us and catch back up to their group, and let all the legend cars group back up so we can go back at it, have a good race, and have some fun, because that's what we're here to do. So in yesterday's race, I was able to bend the rules a little bit, catch up to the leaders, and have a shot at winning that race. But today, with the red flag and having the safety car come out for the restart, that made it impossible for me to have any chance to race with the leaders. And keep in mind, I'm not trying to bash the Vintage Racer group here with what they're doing at the Turkey Bowl. It's a really cool event. We've had a ton of fun so far this week. I'm having a ton of fun in this race. The track itself is awesome. Getting to run with the big cars is really cool. And we've had some incredible racing and had a ton of fun. The difference between the legend cars and some of the other cars here, though, are most of the guys in the modern class have a track car that sits in the garage, and they take it out once or twice a month to do kind of a track day with, and that's kind of what this is. This is kind of an upscale track day. That's just what the event is. But for us legend cars, we race. We're not hurting for events to go race at, so for us to choose to come to the Turkey Bowl, we expect there to be a little bit better organization so we can actually get out there and race. But moving on from that, we restarted the race. Myself, the car in 5th place, and the car in 6th place. We got off to a good start, past the RX-7 that was in front of us, and we had a good little run to the checkered flag. I did find out after the race that one of the leaders had gone off track, and I was promoted to 3rd place, so I'll take it. Going into the next race, I'm set to line up 4th. I've just got to do a better job of hanging on to that draft, do a little bit more of what I did in the second race yesterday, just keep with the leaders, and hopefully we'll have a shot at another win. That was an awesome race. The top 4 cars got up there and we raced each other super hard, super clean, and super fair. We all had a ton of fun. We swapped the lead back and forth between the 4 of us multiple times a lap for a number of laps. That was super cool. And I said after the race that this was probably the most incredible race that almost didn't happen. The way that the Vintage Racer Group has been doing lineups for this week is that they post them on a Google Drive. So everybody here has access to the Google Drive. We go on there to see results, entry list, lineups, and whatnot. So before the final race, we looked at the lineup for Group 5, and the Legends were set to line up in basically the same order we had the last 2 races. I was set to start 4th, but when we rolled up to the grid, the officials told us that there was no lineup for race number 4. So basically, we were just going to be sent out there in whatever order to go run laps, have a track day. And this is where I was very impressed with the mentality of the other Legend car drivers, because I didn't want to be the guy that pulled up to the pole position and didn't deserve to be there based on speed. So I pulled into the 4th position where I was technically supposed to be based on the lineup, and then the rest of the field filed in basically in the spots that they were posted in on the lineups that we saw. So you definitely kind of got that feeling that we might not have come to a race, but we came to race. And the top 4 cars definitely put on one of the best shows I've ever been a part of. Like I say, we swapped the lead back and forth so many times. I'm pretty sure that at one point, each one of the 4 of us had the lead. Ultimately, the 8 car had some engine issues and he fell out of the race. Myself and the 2 car, we tried as hard as we could to catch the 97. We were both pretty even through the road course section, so we tried it at first with him pushing me down the straightaways. And we didn't seem to make up very much ground just because I don't think I was a very good leader. So I gave him the opportunity to lead, and I tried to do my best to get up to him and push him. But as soon as I got behind him, I noticed that there was oil spraying out of his motor, and so we just struggled through the corners to make up any time because of the oil getting on both of our tires. Both of us were sliding and just trying to find grip, and we just couldn't do much with it. It was really cool to come up here, do something a little bit more relaxed. It kind of felt like we were going racing at a car show. I never thought at any point in my life I would get to race against an LMP3 car, and so that was a really cool experience. It was just a cool experience all around. We walked out of here with all top 5s, a win, and 2 third-place finishes, so I'm very happy with our performance. I've really been enjoying the road course kick that we've been on the last few weeks, but I'm excited to get back on an oval next weekend at the South Carolina 400 at Florence Motor Speedway. So I hope all of y'all will tune in to the next video to see how my reacclimation to oval racing goes. Thank y'all for watching today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all in the next one.